Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my contouring routine. We're going to go over cream, we're going to go over powder. It's going to be quick, it's going to be very easy and fairly inexpensive because most of the products I use are pretty inexpensive and certainly dupable. So let's get started. Okay, so you always need to start off with creams before powders. So I will do my cream first. I always find with cream contour that it is sort of trickier to get used to applying it, but it looks way more natural. So it's worth kind of getting to know how that works for you and the products that you want to use for cream contour, because the end result I find is much more beautiful. So you want to do that first. So I'm using my MAC Studio Fix Perfecting Stick in the shade NC50. And this is like a concealer stick, but it is perfect for contouring. So basically the line you want to follow for your contour is your normal hollow underneath your cheekbone. So if you could do the duck face, that is where you kind of want your contour. So the angle generally is like from the very top of your ear to your mouth. That's kind of where you want to follow. But if you kind of do that, that will help you see where you want it to go. But I always find it's a bit of a mistake to actually draw that line from ear to mouth, because as you blend, the product is going to blend down a tiny bit. Even if you're blending up, which is what I do, it's bound to move slightly lower than where you've put it just as you're blending it out. So I always kind of go in a bit higher than where I want it to ultimately sit, because as you blend, it'll move slightly down, so that means that it won't go too far down that you're gonna end up looking muddy, or your contour is gonna be too low for where you want it to sit. So I kind of start just above where my ear sits, and I draw the line towards the corner of my mouth, just enough so that when I look forward, you can just see the end of it. Because again, when you blend it, it's gonna come further in, and you don't want your contour to come too close to the center of your face. You want it to stay nice and towards the outer edge. So there you can see, you can just about see the contour as I look forward. And then I do around the sides of my forehead. And again, I do it away from my hairline, so you blend it back towards your hairline. If you do it right at your hairline, the only way you've got to blend is too far down. I never actually use my stick to go down to my jawline because I like to keep that quite light. So I just tend to buff my excess product there. And then down the sides of my nose and the very tip. So I don't tend to go right up to my eyebrow with the drawing, because I like to buff it up there and keep that area quite subtle. So I do blend it up there, but I just draw it on up to about the corner of my eye. So with this stick, I find it really easy to blend, but not with a beauty blender. If I use a beauty blender, I feel like I'll be there all day and it's just not gonna work. So I use my Morphe G3, which is like a fairly flat, like buffing brush. And I find this blends in super quick. So just in these like quite firm buffing motions. And as you can see, I'm only buffing up, but the product will slightly travel downwards because that's just what happens. So that's why we started with the line a bit further than when we ultimately wanted it to stop. But I am buffing upwards and into that hairline. And obviously you can basically stop as soon as you're kind of happy with how dramatic or how subtle you want it. Don't worry too much if your contour does come a little too far down, because you can always clean that up with a powder. And as you can see, it's also traveled in right to where I want it to stop, which is about level with your pupil, even though we only drew it like the outer edge of the eye. So that's why we kind of stopped where we did. And you can see how quickly this product blends out, as opposed to some, when you see people doing contour routines with some of the other contour products, and they literally can be there for weeks. So this actually could realistically be part of your everyday routine if you wanted, because it is so quick. Same thing on the forehead, buffing that into the hairline coming right round to meet that contour on our cheekbones. And you want to come around kind of above your eyebrow just slightly as well. And do you see how quickly that was? And then just with what's left on the brush, I'm going to go along my jawline. And that's just going to give me a subtle contour there without being too much. And just keep going with this if you want it to be more subtle, or you could stop a bit earlier if you want it to be more intense. It's very easy to blend. And then with the nose contour, I use the same brush, but probably could benefit from using a smaller brush, to be honest. And again, it's mega easy to just blend it towards my brows and down the bridge. And it's literally taken me moments to blend all of that in because it is so easy to blend with that stick. So that is your cream contour. So this is kind of what I would do on the sort of everyday contour. I don't really contour on a normal, you know, everyday quick running out the door. This is my kind of weekend glam level of contour. If I'm going out, then I might also add the powder, but this for me is like enough for most days of contour, and I find like it's really natural compared to a powder contour. I love the colour of this stick, and it just gives a really good blend into like bronzer and blusher and all of that stuff. So next up, I'm just going to quickly bronze my skin using my Charlotte Tilbury Bronze and Glow kit, and that will just set that contour in place, as well as giving us like a nice transition into the bronzer. This is just going to warm the face up and also set that cream in place so it lasts longer. And then I like to just bake the bridge of my nose with my RCMA No Colour Powder, because I do use that bigger brush and not too careful with it. This will just add some light back to the bridge of the nose, which will help that contour be like more defined without having to take much more time or anything like that. So now what you should end up with is like a bit of a nice transition from your cool toned contour into your warmer toned bronzer. So you've now kind of got two options if you want to go in with powder contour on top of your cream, which will just make it pop and make it even more snatched. So I generally on the day-to-day, if I'm only going in with powder and I just want to do a quick, really easy on the go contour that is very soft, then I'll go with my Morphe M104, which is like this angled contour brush, which is a really nice size and shape to just get into that angle. If you want to go mega snatch, you want to use something a bit more like the Morphe 460, which is this flat top, which really enables you to get right into a really fierce line. This is also a really good brush for using your loose powder to sort of clean up your contour, and it's also quite a good nose contour as well if you want to use it for that. What I sometimes like to do if I'm like going on a night out and I want really quite a strong contour, I will go in first with a lighter shade like Anastasia's Fawn colour, and I use that as my main contour, and then I'll just literally use a deeper shade like Java to just go right at the top, and then I'll blend it out, and that way you get quite a nice diffused blended contour. So I'm going to be using my Rimmel London Kate and using the contour in this, and this is the shade Golden Bronze, and I'm going to be using my bigger Morphe M104. So I just literally slightly dab my brush in there because this is really pigmented, tap it off, and then starting with the narrower end of the brush at the top of my ear, again slightly higher than where you actually want it to sit, I'm just going to dust that down and up. Now you've laid your bronzer down, you've got a nice place to blend that powder into. So you can see the difference already as that looks a lot more snatched than this side. So same thing again on this side. And blending it up into your bronzer. And because you've laid your bronzer down, it's never going to look too sort of popping out there. It's just going to blend and diffuse nicely and softly into your bronzer. So same thing, just dusting this on the jawline. And of course, when you add your blush and your highlight and everything is going to blend even more nicely into that. And then around the hairline, never going too heavy. And then I just put the excess down the sides of my nose. And then using any powder brush you can dust off your bake, off of the bridge of your nose that we did earlier. So this is my finished contoured look. I hope you enjoyed this video. You can see it's so easy. It's just about finding the products that work for you, finding your right shades. If you're nervous, just go for a really close shade to your skin tone, and then you can't really go too wrong. Just practice. Just have a go, try cream, try a powder, see what you prefer. Like I said, cream for me looks way more natural, powder is quicker and easier, so it's kind of whatever your priority is, but just have fun with it. It's just makeup. Don't be scared to contour. Lovely to see you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please come back, like and subscribe if you want to see me again, because I'd love to have you back. Take care for now. Bye 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 bye.